Hello again, and welcome to Scared Schmidtless, the true crime and horror podcast hosted by yours truly, Alexander Schmidt. I hope you're all doing well this week, because I'm about to put some fear into your ear. I'm doing pretty well myself. Last week I told you that I was going to tell you some of my personal experiences to do with paranormal stuff, I guess. And I've had a few of them. I've chosen 3 in particular that will definitely stand out, and are ones that I can't necessarily forget about. So, yeah, last week I sort of introduced you to the show, and told you my goals and whatnot, and this week I sort of want to just tell you a little bit about my experiences with certain things that have happened. So, without delaying the show too much, I'll get sort of straight into it. There's definitely been more than 3, but I picked these out because some of the other experiences could be coincidences, say with a family member passing away and then their favorite song playing later on that day or something. Little things like that could definitely be categorized as a paranormal experience, I guess, but it could also be seen as just a coincidence. So there's definitely been a fair few of those that I have experienced, but I've chosen to keep them out and go with more memorable experiences, if that's the term that I can use here. Right off the bat, I'm going to start with my earliest experience, and this happened when I was a child. I think I was 8, I can't really remember my age, but I remember I was little. And it was an old house that we used to live at, and I remember it was very dark one night, and me and my brother, my little brother, were in bed, and we were asleep. And my mum at the time, I say at the time like she's not here anymore, she is, but at the time she was still my mum. She was watching a TV show, an Australian TV show that was very popular years ago, called Blue Heelers, which is a cop show, I believe, about Australian police or something. I don't really know. I just know it's called Blue Heelers and it has to do with police. Yeah, so me and my brother were in bed asleep, and she was watching Blue Heelers in the other room. So there was a big room where our front door was, that was just an empty space, so we had a radio player there and whatnot. And Mum was in the lounge room further down in the house. And my brother and I's room were relatively close to this room with the radio in it. And if you sort of catch my drift, I'm heading in a direction where it involves the radio. I don't know how many hints I've put down, but that's where I'm heading. And me and my brother were asleep, right? And then all of a sudden, the radio starts playing, right? And, that could just be summed down to an electrical issue, whatever. So me and my brother both woke up. I think my brother woke up first and then came into my room and was like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, oh, it's just the radio, just playing. It's obviously broken or something. So me and my brother, we went out of my room and we headed towards the radio player. It was playing, I can't remember the song, but it was playing a radio station or something. And it was fully on. It was fully turned on and everything. So what we did was we just turned it off. We pressed the power button and turned it off. Then we started to walk back to our rooms. And as we were walking back to our rooms, we were about halfway back to our own bedrooms, and the radio turned on again. And I can't really describe that feeling of fear that I had when you're a kid and something like that happens, but I was, safe to say, shitting my pants. My brother and I looked at each other again, and we sort of went, what the fuck? Except we didn't say that because we were like 8 years old and he was like 6. So we go back to the radio again, and we turn it off, and then we head back to the rooms. The same thing happens. At this point, you can't just say it's sort of a power issue. There's something else happening. So what we did was me and my brother ran. We ran at the radio, pulled the power cord out of the wall, so it was completely powerless, everything like that. And and we dipped. We ran straight back to our rooms. We got into our beds, and just as we were getting comfortable, the radio turns on. How? We both get up, we both stare at each other, and we go and tell Mum, and she doesn't believe us because she couldn't hear the radio playing. And she was watching her Blue Heelers as well, so she didn't really care, and she sort of did that parental thing of, oh, it doesn't exist, blah, 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 it's just in your head, blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't. Me and my brother both heard this, and we saw it. So what we did was we came out of our rooms, and we went to the radio player. The power cord was still not in the wall, and the radio was playing. And this was at a time where they didn't really have wireless radios like that just operated normally without a power cord. So we turned it off, I'm pretty sure, again, and then we went back to our rooms and it didn't turn on again. But the amount of fear that I had when we went back, pulled the power cord out, and then went to our rooms and it turned on again, I'll never be able to describe that. And this story, only recently I was talking to my brother about it again, and it's so much creepier, this story now, because he mentions that he always sees an old man, and he always used to see an old man in that house. And we had no old man living with us. And he brought that up the other day, like, oh yeah, I always see this old man. Oh, dude, nah, don't like it. I just got chills saying it then. But yeah, he mentioned an old man recently, and the old man he sees every now and then. He used to see him under the bed and hiding in the cupboards. Oh, bruh, why'd I say that? Yuck. Ugh, yuck. If people are interested, I might get my brother on the podcast to just talk about the old man and what he does and stuff like that, if people want to hear more about that, because he only just recently brought up the old man, and that creeped me out, because I used to think I saw things as well. My second experience has to do with sleep paralysis, and if you're not aware of what sleep paralysis is, basically your body doesn't wake up, but your mind does. So your eyes and everything will wake up, but you're fully paralyzed from the neck down. And this is often associated with shadow men. So when you have sleep paralysis, you may experience a shadow figure, or a dude wearing a hat, or in one of my friends' experiences, someone sitting on your chest. A demon sitting on your chest trying to strangle you, but you can't move, you can't do anything about it until the sleep paralysis disappears. And I've only ever experienced sleep paralysis once, and it happened I'd say maybe 5 years ago. About 5 years ago, when I was living at my mum's other house at the time. And it was 9 a.m. in the morning, and I remember this so clearly as well. I was asleep, and then I wasn't asleep. And my brain woke up and my eyes opened, and I was facing the cupboard in a single bed. And I was facing the cupboard, and I couldn't move any part of my body. It was the strangest experience. I couldn't move my foot, I couldn't move my arms or anything. I woke up paralyzed. That's what sleep paralysis is. And I didn't know what to do. So I was just laying there with my eyes facing the cupboard, just looking around the best I could with just my eyes. And then I feel a breath on my neck. And I'm the only one in the room. And I could feel breathing on my neck. A cold breath on the back of my neck. And a whisper. This breath was associated with a whisper that was telling me to turn around. Oh, dude, talking about it just then sent a chill down my spine. Yuck. Um, it was probably one of the most scariest experiences I've ever had. I never want to experience sleep paralysis again. I remember just laying there, it's like 9 a.m. and looking at the cupboard. I couldn't do anything. I could feel someone breathing on my neck. And people who haven't experienced sleep paralysis don't believe me when I say this experience, but it's fully true and it's happened. I could feel a breath on my neck and this like husky deep whisper telling me to turn around. And then it lasted like 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I could just move. And I turned around, and nothing was there. And I didn't sleep for a solid like week after that happened. I couldn't fall asleep. So I haven't experienced that since, but sleep paralysis is something I would never wish upon anyone. It's a horrible experience, and it's also one that can leave a scarring memory, and it varies as well. So it can always be different for everyone. People see shadow figures. People see kids. I read a story. Someone saw someone crawling on the roof. Like, ugh, no, thank you. I think I got the shallow end of an experience. And I necessarily don't want to go to the deep end. Moving on to my third experience I've picked out for today, and this involves my now fiance, Cara. Her and I went to a jail ghost tour. I'm not going to say exactly where it was, but it was local to us. Overall, I remember it being a pretty generic tour with stories about ghosts being in the jails and stuff like that. Just a pretty generic ghost tour. Until one part in particular. My fiance and I were standing over the gallows. So the gallows are the part of a prison where normally people who are sentenced to a death conviction are hung from. So basically it's where convicts used to be hanged. And we were standing over there with our group in front of a cell that had its door fully open. The cells, we went on a ghost tour at night, so the cells were pitch black. Some of the doors were open and some of them closed. And we were being told about the gallows and people who were hung by the gallows. And it often went, people were hung there while other cellmates watched. So we were being told about this, and my fiance, while we were standing in front of an open cell, said she felt someone breathe on her neck and lift her hair up. She turned to me and asked if it was me, and I said no, it definitely wasn't. I wouldn't pull that prank at all. Not in a jail when it's like 10 p.m. at night. No way. And we both turned around to look at this dark, empty cell with nothing in it. And yeah, there was nothing in it. And no one else from the tour group saw anything, nothing like that. I'm pretty sure the tour guide at the time was like, yeah, some of the spirits are pretty playful. Playful? What do you mean playful? This ghost just assaulted my girlfriend at the time. That's not okay. Let me show this fella some hands, you know? This was followed by my fiance and I going home, in which my dad followed us home and then banged on the outside of the house, which scared the shit out of my fiance. So it was a pretty fun night. Yeah, it was a weird experience, man. It was weird. Cara tapping me and then saying, "Oh, did you just do that?" I said, "No. What happened?" "Oh, there was a breath on my neck and then my hair lifted up." And she had her hair down, I think, at the time, and her hair was lifted up at the back. And I said no, and I remember the look in her eyes was like, can we dip? Can we go somewhere else right now, please? I'd never seen her so scared like that before until we came home and then Dad banged on the walls. That's on her YouTube channel as well, in one of her monthly vlogs. So they are just some of my experiences. As I said, there was definitely others. There's definitely been ones where they're more heartwarming. My fiance Kara's dad passed away, and every time we go to his grave to visit him, the sun comes out. So we look at that and we see that as a sign that he's looking over us and taking care of us. Even when it's pouring down rain. It was pouring down rain one day. We went and saw him, and within 5 minutes of being there, the rain stopped and the sun came out. So I believe there's definitely experiences that are more positive than there are ones that leave you sort of traumatized, I guess. But yeah, if you want to send a story into the show, or you have an experience yourself to do with something paranormal or true crime related, if you even have a positive experience that you want to share, I would really love to hear one. There's nothing better than listening to someone else's paranormal experience when you've had one of your own and seeing how it differs. So if you do want to send a story or your own personal experience into the show, whether it be traumatizing or more of a heartwarming story, you can do so with the following email. And that email is scaredschmidtlesspod@gmail.com. Or just have a browse in the show notes. I'll leave it there for you as well. I also made a Twitter and an Instagram if you want to follow those, as well as a YouTube channel if you just want to watch on YouTube. I haven't set up a camera for it yet, but I am willing to if people are interested in that. Leave the show a positive review if you enjoyed it, and definitely reach out to the show if you want to. I'm not scary at all, I promise. All my personal social medias will be down in the show notes as well. Plus the other podcast I run, which is a lot more comedic and lighthearted, I would say. Thank you all for listening in today, and I'll be back next week with some more stories.